Hey guys, today I'm gonna take you on a tour of the hatchery. At the end of the tour, you're gonna have a pretty solid understanding of how the place operates and what we're doing here. Follow along. First up is the Springhouse. This is where all the water originates. This spring fluctuates between 1,500 and 5,000 gallons per minute, depending on the time of the year. So this is a limestone aquifer. The water's coming out of the ground at about 53, 52 degrees, depending on the time of the year. pH is an 8, it's naturally alkaline. So this is where the water originates right here. Water's coming up out of the rock. And then this dam right here, this dam here is what captures the spring, and this PVC pipe is what sends water to our Springhouse, where we hatch all the fish, and that's where I'm gonna take you next. All right, this is the second stop on the tour. So we're down about 100 yards from the Springhouse. This is our intake. So the water comes down the creek here. We have screens that keep debris and stuff from going down the pipe. We clean the screen every day. And if you see here, there's a 16-inch main that is sending the water across the street to all of our raceways and ponds. So we got 2 sets of screens. Then you have this cast iron valve. I don't mess with this valve. But anyway, you have a 16-inch intake right here that's carrying the water all across the street. So this is what's supplying the water to the ponds and raceways. Next, I'm gonna take you in the hatchery building, which is right here. This place was built by the Department of the Interior in the 1930s. It was operated by the federal government as a research facility. You know, they're really kind of getting into aquaculture and that kind of thing. This is the original sign right here, which is super cool. This is where we hatch all the eggs. We don't have anything in here right now. We hatched about 3 months ago. We hatch all the eggs in these jars. This water hooks up to here. Water goes down this middle pipe, hits this concave surface on the bottom where it pushes the water up equally on all the sides. It keeps the eggs aerated, and it mimics a trout stream where the eggs are tumbling down the stream. So the eggs tumble in here about 10 days or a week, depending. They hatch, they stay in the jars a while. Then they go into the stainless steel troughs where they stay about another month, maybe 6 weeks. And then we move them right next door here to these concrete troughs where the fish stay in here about another month. So this is a daily thing over here when there's fish in here. And from there, we move them in coolers across the street to the concrete raceways. This right here, this building was an original building. So back in the day, before commercial fish food, the state actually ground up roadkill, and they ground it up in this building. They had a big, we're not gonna go in there, but we had a big floor grinder, had a drain. They ground up roadkill and they fed it to the fish. Trout have got to have a really high protein diet. You know, you're talking 40, 45% protein. And back in the day, organ meats, grass-fed beef liver, sheep, they fed a lot of sheep organs, which is all really good stuff. They ground that up and fed it to the fish. So the water is traveling in this 16-inch pipe under the ground here, across the street, where I'll show you the raceways and the ponds. All right, kids, let's cross the road. All right, so back in the day, there was a lot of people stealing fish from the state at night, so they built this chain link fence. We've torn part of it down. We've kept part of it up. It is nice to have a gate. So we'll start up here. We got a couple ponds. So all the ponds have numbers. We found it works best to concentrate the water. So you have pond number 2 right here. This nut pond is number 3. This pond right here is number 4. So we're not using 3 right now. We are using number 4. We got some bigger 2-pound rainbow trout up here at the front. And then we have some smaller 1-pound fish at the back. We have 4 kind of 4-inch pipes feeding this pond here, and this pond goes to a distribution box at the back of the property, and then we can direct that water to a couple different ponds. We have a huge pond here we cleaned out. It was actually too big. So this is pond number 10 right here. when we got here, this thing had trees growing up in it. So we got in here with a machine, got all the trees out. We're gonna do maybe some largemouth bass or striped bass or shrimp in here this summer. So yeah, this is pond number 10. It's huge, we're not using it right now. We're gonna fill it up in a couple weeks and let the water warm up. This is one of our main production ponds right here. This is pond 9B. This is all of our 2-pound plus fish. These fish are all going to restaurants that are doing fillets, portions, tasting menus, that kind of thing. A lot of these fish are 2 years old and up. There's some slabs in here for sure. This right here is water that we're reusing from pond 3B. So we can either divert it to the creek or we can divert it back in this pond. And then this water here is fresh water coming from this 16-inch pipe that I showed you. Then over here, this is another one of our big production ponds. So you have this pipe right here, which is fresh water. And then you have this pipe here, which you can divert the water from the raceways into this pond if you want to reuse it. I have a bunch of little fish in here right now and they're pretty sensitive to water quality, so I don't want to reuse the raceway water. I'll wait till these fish are a little bit bigger, but there's about 40,000 fingerlings in this pond. I'll take you to the raceways next to show you about what's going on there. Stuff laying everywhere, dude, the kids. This is Raceway 4. We've got some pipes in here, a soccer ball, a kid's cowboy hat. We're not using this raceway. We're not using 4 or 5 right now. We're gonna fill them up, warm the water up, put some striped bass or something in the next month. We are using Raceway 6. This has got some 1-pound rainbows that we're harvesting out of right here. And then we are using Raceway 7. This is part of that group, the 42,000 group that I showed you. So we're gonna be leaving these in here so they get about fingerling size, and you can do a whole fried trout with the little small guys. I have Raceway 8, which we're not using right now. We found it a lot better if instead of have less water in a lot of ponds, have more water in less ponds. I can show you the creek where the water comes out into the creek. I think this is cool to show this. This is where the ponds 9A and 9B come into the creek. If you see up above the creek, up above here, you don't really see hardly any vegetation, right? Well, below this pipe, you see a lot of vegetation, which is really cool because in an open system, all this grass acts as a living filter. So it's filtering out the solids. The plants are using the fish poop to grow. And I really like using the example, when you move chickens on pasture and you move them every day, right? They poop in an area, you feed them in an area, you move them. Well, that grass goes crazy, you know? But if you leave them there too long, it kills all the grass. Well, the same thing is true with an aquaculture system, a trout farm, a trout stream. Nutrient load isn't bad, it's the amount. So if you can add the right amount, it actually supercharges the environment. We have a healthy, wild rainbow population here below the hatchery, which is really sweet. The hatches are crazy. There's a lot of bug life, a lot of habitat for the fish. So that's a little overview of the hatchery, of the property here. Thanks for hanging out. The fish you saw, you can buy on our website, smokingchimneys.com. We ship them every week. You can get a fresh trout box, smoked trout. We do all kinds of cool stuff. Check it out, smokingchimneys.com. Thanks for following along. We'll see you on the flip-flop.